Doug Kyed here at Super Bowl Radio Row with my buddy Tom Curran from NBC Sports Boston, Patriots Insider. How's it going, Tom?
Good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Doug. We miss you.
Oh, well, I miss you guys too.
See, it's nice.
On the old Patriots beat. Let's talk about some Patriots things that are happening because things are starting to kind of perk back up. But first, Tom Brady retiring. This caught me a little bit by surprise. He'd always said 45, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, 44 years old, retiring. What do you make of that? Even just the timing of it all.
It took me by surprise as well, because usually he's so clinical about his decision making. And to play at the level that he did, I mean, he's walking away for the right reasons as a human. He's not walking away for the right reasons as a player.
No.
Because he is not diminished at all. He said, I'll play until I suck. Well, he doesn't suck.
No.
It's still in the back of his mind. I'm sure that I can still do this at a high level. I'm walking away for my wife, for my kids, to be away from it and devote myself more there. Again, nobody's ever going to argue with those being legitimate and laudable reasons. But I wonder how somebody as competitive as that, who always looks for the next chip to knock off his own shoulder, will process life after football. I talked to Julian Edelman a lot about this, but I wonder if he's going to be able to have it stick, retirement, because he left the door cracked. Julian Edelman said yesterday when I talked to him, it wouldn't surprise him if he came back. And that, to me, would be the next chip, Doug.
Yeah.
People say I can't come back after a year off. Well, I can.
Yeah, what did you make of that? Because he did seem to kind of walk it back with Jim Gray and say, never say never to a return. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know. I never took him for someone who would retire and then come back. But like you said, maybe that could be it. That is the incentive for him.
I think that that never say never to me was an announcement of I'm open to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to believe that GMs and coaches and team owners are going to say, should we talk to Brady?
Right.
Should we have him as a guy? I mean, wherever he goes, the team instantly will become a contender.
Yeah.
But what he brings with him is a force of, I'm going to kind of take over a lot here.
Right.
So there's a lot that comes with Tom Brady too, I think, which Bruce Arians probably experienced. It'll be fascinating to see how that franchise does in the absence of Brady.
Kyle Trask.
Are they going to revert to a 6-win team, a 7-win team?
Yeah.
Without the culture that he brought with him, Brady, it's going to be fascinating. But that's what I made of it, Doug. Him saying never say never is just leaving the door open to say, I'll listen.
Another thing that's kind of percolating again, thanks to Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, Deflategate. I almost feel like a nostalgia to be talking about Deflategate again. It's so funny because I hated it so much at the time of covering it, but now I'm like all back in. I want to talk about Deflategate all the time.
Because you start looking at it and you're like, they really did this. They really did all of this over that.
Right.
And, Goodell said, boy, I don't think I've even thought about it, in a couple of years, whatever he said. He said he doesn't think about it. I think he should think about it every day he gets up.
Yeah.
To think that at the bidding of the rest of the league, they persecuted Tom Brady and the Patriots by extension over nothing. They hijacked their own season. They hijacked the Super Bowl in 2014 to an extent, ended up being, in my estimation, the greatest Super Bowl ever, Super Bowl 49, because of the players, because of the way it panned out, because of the fact that those teams and what they meant. But they allowed the 2016 season to be hijacked somewhat, all for something that they couldn't prove.
Right.
As Florio said when I talked to him the other day, he goes, something may have happened because of the text messages or indicate something was going on, but they didn't have the evidence. They had no smoking gun. It's funny, I talked to an NFL executive a few years ago about it, and he said you could still be prosecuted for murder even if there's no body.
Right.
Which is basically what they did.
I guess if Deflategate had not happened, which at the time I would have preferred, do you think they still go to 3 more Super Bowls and win 2 more without that additional chip on Tom Brady's shoulder?
It's chip after chip, isn't it? Because it was the Jimmy chip that helped them win the Super Bowl.
Right.
But then the chip, I don't think so.
I actually don't either.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the 2018 was such a gravy Super Bowl. That wasn't
Right.
really even, and I think they would admit that. It was kind of an average for the Patriots football team. The reason they won, as you probably agree, was they were completely healthy, except for, I think, Jawan Bentley and Jeremy Hill were the only
Right.
guys on
Yeah.
IR. Completely healthy,
Yep.
and they got great matchups in the playoffs. They were able to annihilate San Diego. Yeah, the Kansas City was a tough matchup.
Right.
But then the Rams matchup, they just overwhelmed them because they had a scheme ready,
Yep.
which you guys wrote about last week, which I thought was
Absolutely.
fantastic. That story by Ben
Yep.
was terrific, just breaking that down. But yeah, I don't think that they would have gone the same way because they always needed some kind of persecution complex
Absolutely.
that they could work off of.
Well, Tom, this has been great catching up. Where can people check out your stuff?
You can check, good feed for it is Twitter feed at Tom E. Curran, but you can also go to NBCSportsBoston.com, and we're on YouTube with TC's Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Also check out our buddy Phil Perry's Next Bats podcast. Phil and I do a lot of work together.
Both of those are very great podcasts. I would check them out. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Dougie. Good to see you.